Okay, hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining the second session of the TAP series, Talks on Architecture and Beyond. In case you haven't joined before the TAP, my name is Maria from Marketing Cosentino Asia, and as always, it's a privilege to have you all again with us, and for me, an honor to make the introduction of this educational and inspiring platform that Cosentino is promoting to spread knowledge and keep learning from the best leading professionals of the architecture and design community in the Southeast Asia. As a quick reminder, this year the TAP series is about the making of architecture and the notion of time. 12 talks dissecting each quarter the different and challenging stages that the architecture goes through. We aim to highlight the importance of working towards a well-crafted and more conscious architecture, how to build better, how to be more sustainable, and how to design resilient spaces, and also cities that add real value to its residents. Therefore, all these prolific architects and designers will share with us their practice, experiences, and projects in order to improve the know-how of the juniors, but also the seniors that we are, all of us, in continuous development. And Cosentino is very much aligned with these core values of helping to build better and be more sustainable, because it's our way of thinking and working. To protect the environment is one of our most important commitments. It's in our DNA to work for a more sustainable and better world, because the eco-design and sustainability are principles in the development of our new products. We have, for example, our DECT, which is a carbon neutral product and capable to absorb its own waste. And not less important, our Silestone brand, with some collections that are manufactured with recycled materials, thanks to the use of our hybrid technology patented by Cosentino. So say all of this, we want also to be like a source of inspiration for other companies in the market as well. But let's move forward and go straight to the point. So let me ask Jan to join and start the session with our special and distinguished guest. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good afternoon, Maria. Good evening, Maria.
Yeah, good evening. Almost. Yes. How are you? Fine.
I'm doing very good, and thank you very much for this great introduction to the TAB series #2. So I am Jan from WITO. I am based in Singapore for the past 12 years, and I'm the curator of this year TAB series, following the success of the first TAB series that was done in 2019. As Maria mentioned, for this year, we are focusing on the making of architecture and understanding the different processes. And that's the reason why the way that we curated this year's series, it is to invite small firms or larger firms to share with us their vision of architecture and how they are making it. And because architecture takes time, and it is by doing that we continue learning and that we keep becoming more and more excellent. For today, so we have a very special team that is on board, that will be sharing with us their vision of architecture that is beyond aesthetic. So that's the name of the title of the talk for today. And to talk about architecture, we talk about the built environment, and that's the reason why we have here today Mike Lim, the principal designer of DP Design. So Mike directs the concept design and design development of a wide range of projects, including commercial complexes, retail, and development, residential building. And for Mike, it is important to have this kind of perfection in the design that is beyond aesthetic. And that is definitely towards the communities, towards the people, and to have an impact on the experiences of all of the different users. He's behind some of our greatest projects in Singapore, like our Tampines Hub, the Singapore Dance Theater, and so on. And today, Mike is not alone. Mike is bringing two other friends with him from DP. and that I'm very honored to have not only one director of DP, but 3 directors. So one is my longtime friend, Chi Wang, that I met almost like 12 years ago when I arrived in Singapore. Chi Wang has this stellar development to become now the CEO of DP. I think I will have to call him Mr. But he's of course working hand in hand with Mike on some of the great projects of DP, and also another director from the sustainable design, Suan, that will be also sharing his vision. Why we have 3 people today? It is also to show the value of collaboration and the importance of collaboration in the making of the built environment, from design to architecture to sustainability. And I'm very, very excited and honored to have the 3 of them with us today for you, our dear audience from the TAP series. So Mike, the floor is yours. Yeah, the floor is yours. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Yan. First of all, let me just thank Constantino for organizing this TAP series and actually giving back to the industry. And then also Yan for curating as well as moderating the session. Not forgetting my colleagues who are working very hard behind the scene, as well as the 2 colleagues that's with me now. Also the audience that's taking time to hear today's session. In the making of architecture, I think a lot of time we forgot to thank the consultants, the contractors, the suppliers, and all the workers that really makes the built environment happen. And I think that as an architects or as the designers, I think we need to have the appreciation for the people that really built it. And each time when I go to site, I have that immense feeling and thanks for the people that really work on the projects. So with that, today's share is titled Beyond Aesthetic. I would like to share how the firms collaborate within as well as outside with the larger consultant pool, the process in how we design, and some of the thoughts and some of the cause that we wanted to push forward, especially in times like this, where we're going through some difficult time in the human history. We're going to use 3 projects to illustrate, from very small projects to some larger projects, and they're all in a very initial stage. None of them are in construction yet. I thought it would be good to use this project to illustrate how we work. Now, to be honest, most of the time when it comes to the interior space planning and the interior space part of it, we are always the last so-called last few disciplines to be in the food chain, and we usually come in very late. Trust me, I've gone through this many a time. You just imagine it's almost like a foreign cell being implanted into the human body. There's going to be a rejection phase and reaction phase to that. And I have got some very bad experience in my career, and I do have some very good one. So I'm just saying that in the life journey of a designer, it's never easy, and I don't think we should just give up. If we do have genuinely a cause and a purpose for what we design for. So a lot of time, actually, I always ask myself and always the team constantly remind ourselves, what do we design for? Do we design for statement? Do we design for style? Or do we design for the brief? Or do we design for a larger cause? So that is questions that I keep asking myself as I age, and I constantly ask that non-stop. So obviously everybody knows that in design you ask why, how, and so on and so forth to land on a solution. This is actually what normally people do, right? You go through a stage of idealization, you understand the space, the context, the relevancy. You look for opportunity to create space to solve the problems that the clients present to you, to meet the brief, and then you look at material, color, texture, palettes, as well as so on and so forth. And maybe there's a certain style in that, and to meet the space. But we've been doing this for the last few years as we speak. I think some of you will realize that we do have a first book called Designing Space. And we have been planning the second book called Designing Change for the last few years. It's only been out on the shelf this year due to the pandemic. But this process has been ongoing for a long time. We always ask ourselves, so what are the science behind it? Do we really want to push for something beyond just aesthetics? Like, do we want to enhance social capital, have the place a bit more inclusive, have a more harmonious experience of space, and a bit more emotion in some of the things that we do? So the first project, it is actually at the inception stage. And this is the project that I collaborate with my dear CEO, Xia Qi Wang, who is the architect in charge. Yes, very dear. And later on, he will talk a little bit about the process of collaboration and the journey. So obviously, when we got the projects, the architecture is already there, more or less, at least in terms of the space and the form, because you have to win the project through competitions, etc., etc. And it has a context. It happens to be on the east side. It has got a list of user requirements, even a flow from the clients, etc., etc. So when the team started, they were so bogged down by the first three, and they've forgotten about the experience, the space and the placemaking, and the relevancy of this, and what is beyond just a library. And that's what I want to question. And obviously, it's not going to be an easy journey, because this is what everybody will go through, looking at the context, etc., etc. But I was thinking, why can't the library be really very inclusive? Because a lot of us stays in very small flat. So why can't the library be a social place and a public space where people can come and rest, come and idle, not necessarily just to read a book, and it cannot be just a storage of knowledge and books. So, and since now that we're working from home, why can't it be also a place where working professional can come and work? So these are some of the questions that is going through our mind. And so this is actually the base plan. You can see that we don't have very big spaces. The one that's colored on the left is actually the space. And it has got very little interactions between the inside and outside. It's very functional. You go through the reception, you go through some gates, and then you get to the library, and there's a void there. So we're saying that, okay, why can't we dismantle some of the glass wall, and why can't we make the first portion of the library a part of the landscape, and so that we cut down on aircon load, hopefully less energy use, and why can't we make the steps at the void as one element, and why can't we bring in landscape in a big way, since it's surrounded by so much landscape? Why can't we bring the inside outside? Why can't we have a little bit more interest in the space making? And so we started to study the void. And obviously with that, we need to dovetail in with the architects, and we need to recalculate some of the GFA and some of the permit issues. And so these are just some of the study that we did, right? But you can see that it's becoming very interesting. And then we try to land up at a concept. And that is, maybe this will be the way forward. And then we try to study again, what if that void is a spiral, with different spaces at different levels and it's social steps that people can mingle, can read, can sit. So so these are some of the explorations. So I'm actually bringing the audience through the process. There will be a lot more exploration. Like I said, this is only at the inception stage. And then we then look at how do we stitch all the floors together and how do we stitch all the components as well as all the use together. We have got kids, we have got seniors, we have got adults, we have got so many requirements, and how do we stitch them together through a series of very fun elements, right? And it's almost like a park-like where you can have very big spaces, where you can have small spaces, where you can, and there will be quite a bit of an interest, right? So this is how we land at the concept, and from here we will then work further, right? This is still, like I said, at the inception stage. We're not showing you beautiful renderings, but this is how we work to get the concept, right? And how we want to push some of the things. Maybe with that, I will pass on to Chi Huang, who will talk a little bit about the interdisciplinary things that we are in the office and some of his visions and some of the things that he's trying to push as our new CEO. Okay, Chi Huang, please.
Thank you so much, Mike. Kind of quite special to hear my dear friend share a bit of some of the narratives behind the design of this common projects that we have. So Mike touched on several key subjects about, I would say, essentially the capacity of design. And of course, in the context of DP, we understand that that is one of our primary role in terms of the foundation of our practice. And of course, it's through the vehicle of design. And in our context, we champion the idea of design first. Essentially, it's about creating an ecosystem where we bring about the drivers of design, collectively forming the kind of database for us to generate discourse. And then from there, capitalize on tools like digital technology to further propagate our ideas and manifest them into built forms of spaces for community to enjoy. And within our Design First ecosystem, DP has also developed our own matrix, which essentially anchors on 4 major pillars. So the major pillars will be in the space of idea of economics, notion of environment, of course that of the social dimension. And this essentially are key subsets of the triple bottom line that creates a holistic outlook into the way we can use design to influence and add positive change to lives of the community. And the notion of collaboration is key. I mean, Mike just shared as an example, because we all recognize that the current world is a very different one. Of course, the pandemic has heightened the state of consciousness, not only about the issue of a health crisis, but the importance of unity, of solidarity, of how we connect together as a community, and how that inspires different aspects of design. Obviously, first is the complexity of issues like a health crisis. It's not something that as an architect or an engineer or designer we can solve on our own. It is something that requires a whole of, say, fraternity, a whole of community. In the context of Singapore, we even talk about the idea of whole of society, where there's public-private partnership, where the cultural fraternity can come together to look at how we can confront or address the challenges imposed to us. And hence, that's where collaboration is key for us to ensure success, because that's also one of DP's key celebration of diversity. And I think I don't want to hog the mic for too long. Further from here, you should see how Mike is also bringing engineers and scientific means to further validate the positive attributes and benefits our design bring to the users that we design for. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiva. Okay, so the next project I'm going to share is a project called Asia Green. So there's actually a story behind the project. So when the project came, we actually declined the job. And because it was a so-called refurbishing of a surface project, which means they were asked to make it look beautiful. And so we're like, okay, sorry, not that keen. So, but then the client called again. So I was like, okay, never mind. I will make a visit to the site. So I went down to the site in the afternoon. It was about lunchtime or thereabout. It was hot, and then I feel a sudden breeze when I was walking around the site, and I noticed there were like a couple of doors and so on and so forth. Then I said, okay, maybe can look at this project. So we then took the project because there was certain thing that we wanted to try, and it was a competition project. Don't forget. So, but we wanted to push some of the ideas. So we went. So, and it entails design, and then usually we don't take a non-paid design project, but this one we tried. So, so we were told, okay, don't avoid authority submission as possible. Keep all the M&E, keep the ceiling, keep this, keep that. This is the budget. This is, just make it look beautiful. That's all you need to do. All right. So give us your design, give us a fees, and and then you can go. So we says no, that's not what we wanted to do, right? And then we wanted to question some of this. We wanted to go beyond that. We wanted to see whether we can blur the boundaries. We wanted to see how we can make the space a little bit more collaborative, a bit greener maybe, and since it's only the lobby and it's a transient space. So then we definitely want it to be green, okay? And that was the idea that we wanted to take the project. And then, like I say, the opportunity arose when I went to site. I see it really like an urban plaza, and that it is connecting between two open air car park, and it is among some office block. And then there were 4 doors, and it was concrete floors, and it was very hard. And then we're saying that, okay, what if we really make this like an urban plaza? It's like a true block link where people can come through, people can walk from place to place and transient through this space. Since it's a lobby and it's a transient space anyway, right? So, and there's security gates on the 2 sides of the towers. So, and there was some small cafe there. So we were excited by this project, even though it's very small, and we were only told to give it a fresh look. And so that is how we started. We wanted to express the space. We wanted to really make these seamless connections between natures and aircon space, non-aircon space. We want to challenge some of these envelope and boundaries. So I told the clients, why don't we make this non-aircon? Why don't we turn off the aircon? Why don't we make this naturally ventilated? So I think they almost fell off the chair, and they say, okay, prove to us that it works. We don't think it works. And then we talk about how it is a transient space. People don't dwell very long. So there was a visions that we wanted to push. That's where I needed the science to come and help me, right? And with that, I passed on to the science part, which is my ESD directors, Suan, that will be sharing how and the process that he works with us and how he actually revalidates some of our visions and some of our ideas. Okay, with that, Suan.
Hi, thanks, Mike. Warm greetings to everyone who are joining in and also listening to us. So when Mike called me and said, look, how do we validate this space, which is a transient, and to the client that is viable to do as a naturally regulated or perhaps mechanically assisted fan for thermal comfort, and say, yeah, sure, why not? So the methodology that I propose is predicted mean mode. So it's actually a score created by Professor Wengler based on thermal comfort, taking into account of the loading level, metabolism, and also the wind speed and climatic condition. It's basically a scale, 7-scale sensation point, 0 being neutral, meaning you are very comfortable, whereas you have 1, 2, 3 is getting warmer and hot. And then similarly, as to the minus, is getting cooler or very cold. So the acceptable predicted mean mode is taken as 80% of the occupants feeling comfort. It is important for the user and also the visitor who visited this place feel that they do not be compromised of the thermal comfort. So here we are using the guideline by the PCA, green mark, for the commercial atrium, and we do the simulation to derive the wind speed and also the temperature. So as Mike just mentioned to you, this is the main lobby. It's a big lobby area. You have F&B and also a reception and a self-check-in. But flanked by the left and right side, there are also 2 smaller lobbies area. But this lobby, there are 3 air conditioning systems. So we said that, okay, there is an opportunity for us to explore, especially there are 4 doors that can be opened to have some more ventilation air. And also we can switch off the aircon and test it out with the natural ventilation through a simulation tool and so-called a science validation. If we are able to achieve a good wind speed and the thermal comfort, if not, we have to supplement with assisted fan. That is a high volume, low speed fan. So basically, we have to strategically locate 3 fans at least 0.6 meter away from the existing lighting, and then to proceed with the simulation to see where we are in terms of the thermal comfort. So the simulator fan performance are as such. So basically, after through a few rounds of simulation and trial and optimization, we arrive at the following conclusion. The F&B area, they have an average temperature of about 23.7 degrees Celsius, with an average wind speed of 0.35, and they achieve PMV about slightly minus, okay, a little bit cold, but the percentage area within a comfortable range of 0.8 and minus 0.8 is 50%. Similarly, for the counter, which is close to 100% thermally comfortable, the temperature is in the range of 27 degrees, average wind speed of 1 meter per second. And last but not least is the self-check-in area. We have a temperature of 34.3, and we also achieve at least a PMV about 82.4%. So now the next thing is the client is asking, how do we justify this kind of investment? Yes, the thermally is comfortable, but is it financially viable? So here we are doing a scenario for the estimated payback. For scenario 1, we turn on all the aircon, so we run it based on the motor power, cooling capacity, and derive how much is the consumption, the energy tariff, and also the cost. So add together is about 26,000, okay, capital cost, running cost. Now the scenario 2 is where the AHU is serving that main atrium. We switch it off. We just replace it with a 3 high volume low speed fan that is running based on the assumption of 9 to 7 on a daily basis for 1 week working days for the whole entire year. And we realize that the saving is about close to 16,000, okay, based on the 2 scenarios. And for the capital cost to install it, the fan is about 19,000. So we end up with a payback period of 1.2 years. So this is very attractive to the client, and we managed to convince the client to actually proceed on this installation that is going to be starting very soon. I think it is a hybrid.
Yeah. Thank you, Siwan. The reason why I choose this project to share this in this platform, this is really a very small project. We are just challenging ourselves and beyond just what the client is asking for. And even with that, we even had to build all the architectural massing around a half a kilometer radius on the building, right? To help Siwan to do this simulation that it works. I'm very happy that it is working and we're going to do this. And hopefully, it will demonstrate that, the Class A office lobby need not to be aircon, right? And need not to be so closed down. And it is really beneficial for us to open it up because it is in between 2 car park blocks. And so what we did was that this is the rendering for it. So we painted the ceiling, that's all we did. We added the fan, we kept the floor, we keep the door open, we put in some landscape, and all the wood here is actually recycled from the sleeper bed. And hopefully everything is green. We introduce self-check-in. We have a lot more spaces for people to dwell a bit longer. It's almost like taking a respite from the outside, which is hot, which is hard, it's a car park. You come in, and take a rest and take a break, and it's a bit more cooling than the outside. You need not to be fully aircon. So yeah, it's that, and I want to use this to encourage smaller firms who might be doing small projects to push the boundary and not to be afraid to push the boundaries, right? Even if you fail, so be it, but do it, right? If you have the cost and you have the calling to do it. So the next project is actually a hospital. It is not. It is a collaboration project that we have with other consultants, and most of them are Malaysia-based consultants. When we got this project, again, we were the last consultant to be on board. The project's already finished up to level 1. So we're really far behind, and all the things like planned, done, and then we were told to make it beautiful. It says, this is what you need to do, make it beautiful. And we're like, okay, but is that correct? Is that the right thing to do? So we say that no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to try something, and we want to see how far can we go. And so we say that, well, we wanted to a healing place to be really inspired by nature. So that's what we wanted to start doing. And don't forget, the envelope we can't change anymore. It's too late. And so we wanted, you can see some of the constraints, some of the brief that is given. So we wanted to bring in the science of well, okay, and hopefully we can get this well certified. Again, this is on top of what the client asks us to do, but we take it on our own, and we want to challenge that, and we want to tell the client, let's help us to help you to get this well certified. Right? Let us make sure that this is a place where it is really for healing. And then we started to question some of the experience. Right? We started to look at the circulation, we started to look at the medical planning, we started to look at the patient's experience, the family experience, and we look at even the landscape, even the type of plants, we even measure ourselves into the outside. So that is what I mean by beyond aesthetic. And so, but basically what we want to do is, we want to ask ourselves, what does a healing space mean to us? So what does it really mean to us as a designers? So what is the convictions? And I think respect, dignities, and it's a place for all. You celebrate life, you celebrate death, not to be afraid, and you put people, you try to put people at ease, try to get rid of the stress, the anxieties, and that's what we wanted to do, right? We want to make sure that the air quality is good. There's a lot more attention paid to some of these softer elements apart from just color and make it beautiful. So we put ourselves to some of these very rigorous trying things. And so this is, again, a design process. Like we are actually only in the schematic, and we started to look at the colors because there's a basement, there's level 1, there's different user, there's hospital suite, there's medical suite, there's specialist clinic, there's some very big machinery at the basements for chemo and so on and so forth. So how do we make the environment, and how do we color zone that, and so on and so forth. You might not be seeing this very well on the screen. So we were given a plan, and we really turned it upside down. And our scope was only the public area. But because we turned it upside down,
we will have to even take care of the planning of the office, and we will even have to bug on people's other consultants who are already on board for years, and they were really questioning us like, why are you doing this? And this cannot be done. No, we're going to be getting a lot of trouble with the authority. No, the fire. No, this and that. So everywhere, every step we go, we bang into a wall, and my team almost gave up. So I told my team, no, let's not give up. Let's try. Okay, and so we tried. It was a very hard journey for the last few months. And our vision was even greater than this, but we have to pare it back because some of the things were already cast and some of the things were already submitted. So we have to go back to the drawing boards as we go forward and we go back. So it's the process, but if you really are passionate about some cost and some deep concern for the built environment and how people feel the environment, you push for it, even though you might not be asked to do it. The process is always very difficult, right? So this is basically the landing point. So there was something that we introduced, the lights as well as the view outside, the commercial spaces that we have, rejig the whole plans, and then so even like you can see that this is the basement. Just imagine you get into a very low ceiling that we have got like only 2.1, 2.3 meters, which is horrible. And then you have to walk through corridors to get to the different clinics, and it's all solid walls. So we get very upset. I got very upset when I saw this plan. And I must do something to it, otherwise I cannot sleep. So and even though it was challenging, it was difficult, I banged into walls, I had lots of people telling me, oh no, the sun is already here, the landscape is this one, cannot. So why can't? So I managed to convince the client to get aligned with us, and I'm glad that we are able to push some of this, and the plans is a lot better. There's sight line, there's vision cue, so that you eliminate anxieties for patients, for families. They know exactly where to go when they get in. So that was what we are after, the experience part, right, and the space part. And this is currently the basement, that kind of look and feel that we're trying to achieve. And the view from the drop-off to the courtyard, to the outside space, the garden, the lights, and you know exactly where's the corridor, where's the doorways, and like I say, we even meddle with the design of the landscape. Not that we want to take over that job, and we have to take into considerations all the sun points and all the water points and where we can plant, where we can't plant, and what kind of plants we can have. So we run the extra mile because we are concerned about the environment and how a patient feel beyond just aesthetics. So I'm just going to skip through some of these things, and obviously then the aesthetic comes in, right? And this is some of the consult rooms and how we try to bring soft colors, the detailings, and the finishes, and here it comes. But to me, those are given. Right? And as a designers, I presume you should be able to do very nice spaces. You should be able to take care of the details. So the drawing should be up to standard. That, to me, is the minimum requirements. And beyond that, what are you passionate about pushing? Right. So that's how we did that, how we did this hospital, and how we're still going to continue to push some of the envelopes, and hopefully at the end of the day we can get well certifications for the clients and for this project. With that, I thank you, and thank you for your patience listening to us. Yan, over to you. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you very much, Mike. It was. I need time to process what I have seen just now. So I'm a bit okay. I have a lot of notes, a lot of questions, and more importantly, I'm very touched by all of the stories that you have shared, and from an outsider point of view, DP can be pretty mysterious. And that's why to learn the behind the scene, to learn the methodology, I think that's something that is quite amazing and quite unique to understand basically the process. So thanks a lot, Mike, for sharing this methodology, and also during your talk, I understood beyond aesthetic. Initially, I thought that you were talking more about beyond aesthetic from a client standpoint, but in your conclusion, it is beyond aesthetic from a user standpoint. That is beyond what you are offering as a built environment, and that can be an experience. And this is where I have many different questions in the experience. The three different projects that you have shared. We understand that you challenged a lot the brief, you challenged a lot the existing condition. Sometimes you were in the team at the beginning, sometimes you were in the team at the far end, such as the last project. So I would like to understand a little bit more how you basically keep continuing challenging, although it's difficult. And you said to your team, let's not give up and try. Is it Mike or is it DP? Is it the spirit of DP? And you have two other colleagues with you here. So let's not give up and try. Is it the DP spirit or is it Mike spirit that you are bringing through, and that you're like, well, okay, let's do it,
I would say it's a combination of both. Yeah. As you know, that DP, our visions is really, our founder founded the firm with deep concern for the environment. That has always be the factor of how it inspired me. And as you know, also that DP is fairly into successions. I'm not here forever. I won't be here forever. So it is not about an individual. It is about a firm. It is about a story of a firm. It is also about a lot more to do with succession. It's really not easy. I can really cite you some experience where I really got mocked at in front of 100 people by the rest of the consultants about your design is bad, all kind of things. And I even had experience where I almost wanted to leave and fly back the next day because I've been, cornered by the architects. I've been cornered by all the assisting consultants that's really there. It is very difficult, yes. But I don't think we should give up, because if you really believe that, that's what I say, questions why you do design. Yeah. What do you design for? Do you design for your personal style, your personal ego? Then you will give up. Right? But if you don't design for personal ego, you design for the interest of the project, design for the interest of the people, the user, the client, then you will give up. I hope I answer your questions.
Yeah, totally, because it basically brings back to the initial statement, that is what do we design for, and what do we want the design, what do we want the design to be. So I think here the loop is very clear in what you have explained. And also when we say beyond aesthetic, there is already this question of is there any signature to DP environment? DP is not only, of course, architects, interior designers. There are many different fields in DP. So this way of moving forward, and even the succession that you have talked about, I think beyond aesthetic, it is a certain methodology that is true to DP and that you have demonstrated here. One other part that was for me very striking in what you have explained, it is the sense of generosity. The spaces that you are designing, and I'm glad that we could see from a concept design standpoint, the focus on generosity. Generosity to the end users, generosity to the planet. And that's why here the collaboration with the environmental engineer department, that was critical in the success of this lobby that you have designed. So I just would like to hear a bit more from you, this sense of generosity and offering spaces for the people and for well-being. Whether it is a hospital, whether it is a lobby, whether it is a library, do you put the focus on what you do towards the well-being of the end users, and therefore you need environmental engineer to come or architect to come or other to come to really focus on that well-being portion?
Yeah, correct. You see, when you don't design for a personal signature, you go beyond aesthetic. The first question that will come to your mind is, what is it? What cost do you want to do? Right? I know great designers or architects that can push a lot of green and so on and so forth. But there's always a passion about wanting to do better. So you can see that through some of the projects that we have delivered, right? Say for example, our office lobby. We are in a shopping mall. So the first thing I wanted was no barrier. I wanted it to be open. I wanted the place to feel like part of the mall. I wanted shoppers to come in. I wanted us to be part of the shoppers. And I think that is going to be driving success to the mall as well as us. So it benefits both. But obviously at the beginning, a lot of people were skeptical about it. A lot of people were worried about it. I even had my reception telling me that, hey, people come and ask me whether I'm money changers or whether we are a library. And they come and ask me for direction as if I'm information counters. So I have got a lot of those difficult moments as well, but I don't think, like I say, don't stop there if you think it's of a good cause. Likewise, like I said, we want an extra amount, right? Like the lobby. So so if you want to push green, so what is it as a interior part, and the space part? Is this about using just the green material? Or are we still going to consume aircon like the way we do? Or do we want this place to be a bit more social? Some of these things we put to questions. And I think that's what we wanted to do, the lobby to be not just a transient space. Yes, it's a transient space. That's why it doesn't need to be aircon. But you're wasting a lot of energy cooling down this big volume where people is only there for few minutes, right? And it's always empty, nobody use it. Yeah. So if you start questioning some of these, the right things will come. But that process is not easy because it's something that people is not so used to, you know what I mean? Like, it's a Class A office, you crazy, ask me to turn off the aircon, my tenant's going to complain. So there will be a lot of these as well. Right? And like I said, you even have to go beyond that. You're not just doing interior, you're going to have to build architectural massing of half a kilometer radius away. So why are you burdening yourself with all this? But if you believe it, what you do is correct. How big and how small the project, go do it. Yeah.
And in that, thanks for sharing all of this, because and for bringing up the sustainable part and the choice of materials, because all of these are part of the experience and what people will remember, and to feel if it is indeed respectful to the environment? And how do you deal with, let's say, materials that are sustainable, but a bit more expensive? And I think you have already started to answer this question. How do you convince a client to tell them, well, okay, it is a bit more expensive, but it is good for the planet?
Well, first of all, sustainable material need not to be more expensive yet. Yeah. So that perception has to be corrected, right? Yeah. So the other thing is, I think at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves. I always tell people, if you consume less, you're saving the environment. Okay, first of all, don't even consume. That is the best, right? But if you have to consume, then you have to ask yourself, what is it that I want to consume, and how do I want to consume? Right? So I always think that sometimes you treat the material less, you are reducing the carbon footprint, you are helping the workers, you use less energy and to do the thing, so you already green, right? Rather than has to be a green product, but do you know what goes on to make a green product? Right? So in this case, our wood is just normal plywood, not treated. Okay, to me that is already a small step helping the environment, and the cost is amazing. The client love it, so fine, right? And that's what I'm saying. So examine that. Don't take it on the surface that, oh, this green product must be good. I don't care how much it costs. It is nice. Okay, I'm now green. No, you're not. Right.
Okay, understand. I will jump on another question, another field now, which is the collaboration with the architect, and especially Chi Wong, since he started to talk here. So Semi, I have a quick question to Chi Wong, and the project that has been shared regarding the library. When you were designing the building, of course, you were starting to think of the experience. And how do you make sure that your role as an architect, as a kind of master curator of the space, does not go beyond whatever you want to do, to make sure that someone like Mike can step in and can add to the value of the storytelling? So how do you define this moment where you are like, oh, I want to do more, but I need to step back a little bit to leave other disciplines to also take ownership? How do you define that?
So thank you, Jan. I would say that approach itself probably stems back to what Mike shared about the philosophy of DP. So as I shared, I think some keywords of the philosophy goes into the idea of deep concern for built environment and enriching human spirit. And with that, it actually also points to not just the kind of North Point or compass for the firm in terms of our approach, but very importantly, actually, it's also about the sense of humility in the way we approach design. Yeah. So this idea of humility, I think if you extend further into the concept of collaboration, again, in our context of DP, it's the power of team and teamwork, because that's the very strength of what DP is about. Because if you really look at the word DP, it actually talks about design first, and partners and partnership. So it's already embedded in the way that we also have to find ourselves. So the idea of team, we recognize is core here, and of course, with that kind of spirit in mind, in fact, it's not just about leaving the space. I think that kind of going into the realm of even ID is actually absolutely necessary for architect, and likewise for our interior design team, or even our environmental sustainable engineers to come into our spaces to cross-influence and challenge some of our preconceived notion of thinking. It's not just about leaving a space to say, okay, that part, never mind, let's go on. In fact, it's very important that on the onset, we bring the team together and look at how we can co-create the idea and look at not just in terms of the breadth of thinking, but towards a specific depth of it. Okay, let's say, what's the kind of benchmark we want to set for this project in terms of sustainability achievement, in terms of the kind of quality of space? I think it's a very important approach that we take towards design. And I echo that in terms of what Mike shared. It's not just a personal pick, but it's something that we embrace and I strongly encourage to take place within the office as a form of our design philosophy and kind of culture.
Yeah, but thanks. Thank you very much for sharing that. Again, another insight from the DP world. Maybe the three of you, can you share if you have one project that you really loved doing together, something where you look back that has been built and you're like, wow, that was a great project. And it can be a very small one or a bigger one, but something where you look back, you are like, the collaboration worked very well, and the end users feel really good inside, because that's what we want. We want to feel good inside spaces.
Maybe I'll start first.
Yes.
So that
quite interesting too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because this is
better we come together.
Yeah, this is obviously not planned. Right? So it's a good test of this idea of partnership too. And okay, at least the two projects that come straight into my mind with say Mike and even with Suon. I think the first project is a big one. That's our Tampines Hub. So very much a fair bit of that kind of exchange, the partnership, the teamwork. I think it's very much embedded in the whole approach and design process of OTH, what we call in short. So for friends who may not know what our Tampines Hub is the first integrated community, lifestyle and sports kind of complex all in one. It's a huge building, about close to 6 to 7 story. So within the building itself, it has close to 30 over community and civic facilities. One of them is a huge library, which is something that Mike and myself worked on together. And then, of course, within that, it's not just talking about providing space for the community, this idea of gathering. It's really about allowing different facets of life to come together. And one of the most powerful thing about that project is that it went through almost a year of participatory design process to engage not just the agencies, but also the residents of Tampines. And of course, from the engineering dimension, a large part of the science behind the design, or rather the design is actually supported by studies of computational environmental kind of system. I think that's where our SD colleagues and some of the other consultants come in to further validate the way that we have assumed the spaces can work and to make it even more enjoyable for the residents. So that's one. The second project is something really small. That's more with Mike. That's a hardware network.
Okay.
So hardware network is a workspace. Again, we are happy to share whenever there's a chance that DP took it on, that we designed for one of our CSR project, corporate social responsibility project that we did for the group Hardware Network, which is a youth charity that caters for thousands of youth. So it's a workspace that, again, with DPD, DPA came together and started with this question of really this idea of a workspace, the notion of a space for youth, of how design can also be that vehicle for us to instill and communicate values in life for the future generations or leaders that we are talking about. I hope these two projects will be the same as mine. So, all right.
maybe let's go on do first. And then we have the same.
I hope it's the same project. Huh?
So I think for me, my personal thing is I work closely with the architects and also the interior designer, and they are actually, being the interior designer, they have a great impact. Architects also have a tremendous impact to the sustainability design, because it's the way they design the building massing, and also for interior designer like Mike, he will decide what material to be used for the building spaces, whether it's a low carbon material, full of recycled content, etc. And also the space, how people will interact with the environment. That will also determine the thermal comfort, whether can you do it with a naturally ventilated space or air conditioning space. So now, putting all this together is very much of our design approach of sustainability. So the sustainability will cover about the people, the planet, and the economy. Whereas for the circularity, that's the other part I want to focus on, is really talk about very much on the resource recycling. So I have one particular project that I work with TPA now. Very interesting is aspire to achieve a zero energy building status. We all know that in Singapore, being a tropical climate country, is very difficult, so we have to push the envelope. So the architect that I work with, it's not Chi Huang team, but it's another director. They go beyond the boundary, okay? They're pushing the envelope of the sustainability. They want to do another envelope scheme to house all the BIPV. Instead of the PV system at the rooftop, on top of that, they also have certain facade to have a BIPV envelope anchor to the so-called the building curtain wall. So I think beyond that, there's also a very efficient active design. I have to work with the engineer as well. So this project will be a collaboration between the architect and the ESD department in terms of the building design, massing and harness, the daylighting, and also the natural ventilation. For the ID, I work closely with Mike also for a few projects. So, okay. One of them is Safran. I think a lot of interior spaces are being specified, and I think the client is also aspired to go towards super low energy status. It's also a community hub. There's also some, the architect is also happen to be a DP architect from another director team. So again, I work closely with them. Our methodology is really to go towards, first of all, benchmarking against a global sustainable goal. There's a UN SDG, and at the core of our sustainability design, we have our own internal APD view, attribute purposeful design view, that we will benchmark against economics, people, sustainability, and people-centric usage. So last but not least is really how we can, contribute to this climate crisis. Now, we all know that in 2030, every country, even a lot of designer and architect firms are aspire to be achieve so-called contribute as a designer to the ZEB status, meaning all the project that we design, we want to go on top. We want to contribute as much as possible to low carbon development, be it operational or embodied carbon. So I think these are the two projects I have in mind that I work with Mike and Jiwang quite closely.
And that are also very community driven, very community oriented, and that's something that is really clear today, is that the project that you are working together as a team happens to be community oriented, and for the betterment of the life of the people who are interacting within these spaces. So I'm really glad to see that and to hear that from the three of you. So maybe Mike, you can conclude with your project. Maybe they are the same as the others.
Okay. Well, I will let the cat out of the bag a little bit for the library projects that we did in Japanese town. So when I visited some of the library before the project, I was not that interested in the decors and the materiality. I was very much interested in how people use the library. I was very interested in the senior that's dozing off on the sofas. I was interested in how people pile up books to occupy the desks. I was very intrigued by some of these things. I was intrigued by how some of the seniors would spend the whole morning reading the newspapers, sitting in the same spot. So that kind of thing really inspired me. And that is, what drives the project, what drives me on. Now, the Japanese projects didn't win that many awards. But what I was very glad when I was, I have to do a video after the project with some of them. And so the question came was, do you think the project was successful? Do you like the project? I said that question should not come to me. You should go and ask the people. You should ask the people that use the library whether they like the project, whether the project is successful. And I can tell you, from what I see, what I feel, it is successful because people use the space. People literally embrace the space. People don't say, wow, this chandelier is beautiful, or that light beautiful, this leather chair. Oh, sorry, you cannot afford leather chair. This chair is beautiful. No, I think when I saw the library was packed in 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and a lot of students were using the co-working space that we created, it will really excite me so much, because that was what excited me before, how people use the library. That what excited me was the old man falling asleep on the sofa. That was what really, wow, I was so excited. But I cannot tell the client because otherwise they think I'm crazy, So that is what, and I'm glad that the space turned out to be really embraced by the residents and the people that use it. And to me, it's successful regardless of whether you win 10 awards or 1 award. So, and yeah, I think yes, definitely the Tampines Library is one of them that we collaborated, and I think certainly we drive a certain social cost. That's a lot more, getting the place a lot more inclusive. And like I said, why can't they come here and enjoy the aircon? Because their living room is very small. Why can't they sit here the whole day and read the newspaper? It's okay, it's all right. Don't chase them out, it's fine. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? And make the chair comfortable. Don't go and, make the chair comfortable so that they can read and go on. No, I think that's what it should be. And I think that's the cost as a designers and architects that we should push. Otherwise, we wasted our practice.
Yeah. I think it's great. What you are saying is really beautiful, and I think it touches me a lot with what you are explaining. And indeed, the success of a project is not necessarily in the number of awards that we are obtaining, but more in the end user's life, and to see how it improves, and also it provides a platform for encounters. So I think that's a very big learning point for today's discussion, and I will have a very last question to you, because you've been practicing many years, and you've been also providing a lot of guidance to younger designers, younger architects. So in this time of post-COVID era, what would you say, or what would you advise to our younger designers, our younger audiences, our fresh grads, our students today? What would you advise them to still believe in what they do and still believe in making our world a better place for humanity? It's a big question, huh?
Yeah, it's an interesting question to me. It's also something that I've been asking myself. For the last few months, actually I've been, there's a lot of talks about how the world has rebuilt, and and everything is going to be built back better, and it's going to restart, etc. You see, I've been, the last few months I've been doing quite a bit of writing, different topics, and I think it's a good time, because it's almost like a restart, right? We are turning every stone now and ask ourselves: do we build the same way? Do we design the same way? Do we think the same way? Do we consume the same way? Okay, and do we travel the same way? Do we expect the hotel to be the same, etc., right? So I thought it was such a fantastic opportunity for some of the younger ones to start challenging some of these status quo that has been set, and now no baggage one, right? So no baggage, not that because some seniors that has been there for 50 years, like a dinosaur, is saying that you must do it like that, right? So it doesn't have to be now. You can challenge it, right? And and it's the thing is up for grabs, and you know how far you can go is depending on how much your imagination can bring you. You know, it's limitless. And I thought it was such an exciting time, right? So let it go. Let your imagination go. Let your thinking go. As long as you're grounded by a certain cause for humanity, you know, I think that will be it. And then you won't go wrong. And you always need to self-check. Okay? And I think that will be the balance. Yeah, to me, it's an exciting time for the young people.
Yes, I totally agree with you on this, and that's what I keep repeating to many people, including my staff, including some other consultant or partners or client, that it is 2021 is the year of the we say in French the Renaissance. And 2020 was the year of resilience, and 2021 is definitely the year of Renaissance. And I like when you said that we are turning every stone and we are restarting. So that's a very, very strong advice for the younger generation, and a very motivating advice. So with this, I think it's the end of our session today. It was a true pleasure. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much, Chi Wong. Thank you also, Siu An. It was very inspiring, very enlightening as well. I will pass on now to Maria as the last word of the conclusion. So thanks a lot, DP, for sharing with us your methodology, your vision, and how you are basically bringing great project to our society and to our communities. Thanks a lot. Maria, the last word is for you. Thanks again, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, yeah.
Thanks.
Wow. I might be hours listening to all of you. I must say that we are very lucky to have DP with us today. You are all fantastic and incredible professionals, so very inspiring. The message of the presentation has been very, very powerful and insightful, and I believe awakening everyone's creative ideas. That is the important, right, of these sessions. So I really highly appreciate Mike, Chi Wong, Sion, your time with us, and now you are part of this TAP series. So thank you very much, and we'll see you around. My dearest Jan, thank you as always for being our partner for TAP series. So see you next month.
Yes, see you next month.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.